the opportunity to win will be there.
Well, the opportunity to come here to Athens required some special dispensation when this comeback from the torn bicep muscle just was not ready when the Olympic trials rolled around in late June. But then in that special selection camp and the process in Colorado Springs, Blaine Wilson got this spot on this team. Now, the men's team needs to average better than just under a 9.5 on the final two apparatus to pass Romania. Romania was part of Group 1 and set the bar. Now, the United States has to feel as though it's in pretty good shape to average that number with the way they've performed on average here today.
If they just do what they're capable of, there's no question they're going to reach that. Well, there were two spots that were open, and they were awarded to Blaine Wilson and to Guard Young at that selection camp.
Obviously, you've seen the empty seats here in the indoor hall. That may or may not turn out to be a story at these Olympic Games, but I can tell you this, that the upper deck is filled, the less expensive seats.
Guard is doing a very nice job so far. Good position. And holding them, that's critical. You gotta hold each strength part for 2 seconds. Very difficult dismount, and this is new for Guard. The double twisting, double laid out somersault. Wow. Yeah.
Well, he loved it.
Made a great decision, too, because he didn't have enough rotation and actually kind of scrunches his body up a little bit, or he wouldn't have made it. He'd ended up putting his hands down. Watch, he has to kind of tuck up right there, and if he didn't do that...
No, but he snuck it around.
It'd have been a big 5/10 deduction.
Boy, this last 10 minutes has been something in Guard Young's gymnastic career. 9-6-1-2. Now, while the United States was on still rings, we were also keeping an eye on Russia. Check out Anton Golotsuskov on the parallel bars.
And this is something that is actually not all that uncommon on this major release skill.
Oh.
That's not pretty.
Yep, it's a dislocated finger.
But after that, Alexei Nemov, Mr. 12 Olympic medals and reigning Olympic all-around champion, saved the day for the moment for the Russian men. Just like the United States, trying to get into the team finals. As we continue here on day one, Blaine Wilson looks like he's good to go for the rings. He has looked like the reigning world champion, hasn't he?
He really has, and if there was an area where Paul could have been criticized at those world championships, it came on the strength parts on rings. But he's gotten a little bit stronger. You can count up to 2 when his body is frozen in that position. You've got to be able to say 1, 2. It's really remarkable the magnitude of strength that these guys have to do in an exercise. It's exhausting.
His brother Morgan not in this rotation. He's had a nagging shoulder problem.
And just almost a carbon copy of the landing we saw from him on high bar, just that small little hop forward. Actually, he can do a little bit better than that exercise. Good job. So here we go, one of those strength parts. This is called an Azarian. He turns around and 1 1,000, 2 1,000, but you can't do it when it's in slow motion. Just a little bit under-rotated. Your body has to come into the ground at a certain angle. His chest is not quite high enough, and he has to slide his feet forward to maintain that balance.
Jason Gatson is next.
And he's a little bit beat up right now. His back has really been giving him problems. He went back home after the U.S. Nationals and got some cortisone injections, some epidural steroids to calm it down a little bit. And on top of that, his shoulder is bothering him. I remember, Al, being way back in '84. Hard to remember back that far, but I remember feeling that I never felt better in my entire life. I felt like I could do anything, but my body never felt worse either. It's so ironic how great you can feel in one way, but how beat up you can be and still get the job done.
9.512 for Paul Hom. So Guard Young actually gets a better score than the world champion.
Yeah, that was not as good as Paul can do, as I mentioned a little earlier.
And what's affected Jason here is the fact that with his back feeling so horrible, he hasn't really been able to put in the numbers in routines. In fact, he has done very few ring routines at all, choosing in podium training, for instance, the first time that any of these athletes have to actually work the Olympic apparatus. He actually didn't do very much at all.
That first strength part was a little bit short. Did not hold for the entire, and this is a disaster. He did not hold the second, called a Maltese. He didn't hold it at all. And boy, if these judges, they want to take a major deduction, they most certainly can. And he is way under-rotated. This is very disappointing. Jason made finals at the last World Championships on the still rings, and he will not do that here at these Olympic Games.
Yeah, there's nothing you can say to Jason at that point. Everybody knows what the deal is. So that means it's up to Blaine Wilson, whatever condition his head is in right now.
And one of the major reasons why Blaine was selected onto this team was because of his ability to bring in a big number on the still rings.
Raj Babsar, who in the minds of many could easily have been placed on this team, was a top-flight, clutch performer in many, many occasions in big competitions that we've seen right here on NBC on still rings. He was very disappointed not to make the team. He's gotten past it. The score we got for Jason Gadsden was a 9.525.
Well, they definitely deducted, but they were very kind to Jason. It could have been much worse, but like I said, he was expected to bring in somewhere in the range of a 9.7. Got injured at the American Cup on his second Maltese, which is right here, and he also just a little bit short on that hold, and that cross should be perfectly level, and he was a little bit low. The USA was so tremendous in 2003 on rings. It's really one of the reasons why they were able to win that silver medal.
Fights through it. Shaking his head as if he didn't love it.
Hey guys, one more.
So one more, and that'll be the vault for Team USA.
Well, some of the strength parts, as we said, were not done the way they need to be to not incur a deduction, and we all know this now, especially at the Olympic Games, Al. You can't do that.
So, Tim, considering how he was physically just about 5 minutes ago, what do you think?
Well, I think that Blaine is going to be okay. I know that ring routine right there is not what he's capable of getting, and it's a pretty good score, but once again, Blaine came to these Olympic Games a past World Championships finalist, and you don't make the Olympic finals on rings with a 9.625.
And that is his score as everybody moves to the